Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real quick. If you want a man to crave your presence like a drug, you have to be unforgettable. I'm not talking about just dressing nice or putting on makeup. Nah, that's the surface stuff. I'm talking about creating moments, memories, energy that sticks with him long after he walks out of the room. You want him thinking about you when he's brushing his teeth, when he's driving to work, when he's sitting at the dinner table. That doesn't happen by accident. You do it by being fully yourself, unapologetically. Laugh loud, speak your mind, and show him that your world is vibrant, fun, and full of life. Be the kind of woman who doesn't just show up. You leave a mark. That mark, that's what keeps him coming back, like he needs another hit. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. That too many women out here don't understand. If you want a man to crave your presence like a drug, you have to be unforgettable. I'm talking about leaving a mark on his mind that he can't shake. A presence so strong that even when you're not around, he feels you. Now, I know some of you are thinking, Steve, what do you mean by unforgettable? I wear my hair nice, I dress cute, I even cook sometimes. And I'm not saying those things aren't important. They're nice for being unforgettable. That's a whole different level. That's a whole different level. That's energy, that's personality, that fire inside of you that makes him sit up and pay attention. That's the kind of woman who doesn't just show up in a room. She owns the room. You ever met a woman like that? She walks in and you notice. You can't help it. And even after she leaves, you are still thinking about her. That's what we're talking about. Now, here's the thing about men. Men are simple creatures, but they're driven by feeling. They respond to what they can see, hear, and experience, but most importantly, they respond to what sticks with them. You want him thinking about you in the middle of his workday. You want him texting you when he swore he was too busy. You want him to pause what he's doing and smile because he just remembered something you did. Then you have to create moments that matter. I'm not talking about just going out to dinner or sending a text. I'm talking about being memorable in a way that's genuine, in a way that reflects who you are. Laugh loud. Laugh like nobody's watching. Speak your mind. Be bold, unapologetic, and full of life. When a man sees that, he doesn't just like it. He becomes addicted to it. See, the unforgettable woman isn't chasing attention. She's giving it without desperation. She has a life, and it's a life worth noticing. She's pursuing her dreams. She's passionate about her hobbies. She's lifting people up. She's creating energy that's magnetic. When a man is around her, he feels that energy. He feels alive. He feels inspired. And that, ladies, is a drug he can't get anywhere else. Because here's the truth. Anyone can look good. Anyone can smile. Anyone can say the right thing once in a while. But few women can leave a lasting impression on his mind and his heart. Few women can make him feel like he's been touched by something extraordinary. And that's exactly what you want. You want him to think, man, being with her is better than anything else I've felt all week. You want him to carry that feeling with him like it's his personal treasure. And let me be clear about this. Being unforgettable isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. It's about embracing every quirk, every laugh, every tear, and every joy that makes you who you are. Don't try to be someone he wants. Be the woman he can't forget because you are uniquely yourself. You've got that spark, that energy, that presence that no one else can imitate. Own it. Walk into that room with confidence, knowing that your energy alone can turn heads. Your mind, your wit, your humor, your passion. These are what make a man crave your presence. And the beauty of it is, you don't have to do it all at once. Small gestures, small moments of light, of authenticity, of playfulness, of kindness. These are the things that linger. These are the moments that stick in his mind and start building an addiction to your presence. Let me give you a little tip, ladies, straight from the heart. Don't overdo it trying to be unforgettable. Sometimes it's in the quiet moments. The way you smile when he says something silly, the way you laugh at your own jokes, the way you remember something he mentioned a week ago and bring it up casually. Men notice these things, even if they don't say it. That little detail, that tiny action is what makes you unforgettable. It's not just the big gestures, it's the consistency of your presence that builds the craving. And remember, men are creatures of habit. Once they get a taste of your energy, your presence, your laughter, your fire, they want more. And if you give it to them freely, without desperation, without trying to trap them, they'll come back willingly. They'll come back because being around you feels better than being anywhere else. And here's another thing I need you to understand. Being unforgettable doesn't mean you have to be around all the time. No. In fact, the opposite is true. If you're constantly available, always chasing, always bending over backwards, then you're just ordinary. But when you have a life, when you have boundaries, when you let him experience your presence as something special, he starts valuing it more. He starts noticing what he's missing when you're not there. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, ladies, but unforgettable presence makes the heart crave like a drug. You've got to master that balance. Be magnetic, be vibrant, be full of life, and then let him miss it. Let him feel it, let him chase it without you having to force it. That's power. That's control. That's how you make him addicted to your energy. Ladies and gentlemen, being unforgettable is more than just appearances, it's energy, it's authenticity, it's fire. It's a presence that lingers, that sticks with him, that makes him smile in the middle of nowhere because he's thinking of you. That right there is how you make a man crave you, not by changing who you are, not by playing games, not by pretending, but by fully, unapologetically, vibrantly being yourself. That's what unforgettable looks like. And once you step into that power, once you embrace that energy, you're not just a woman he likes, you're a woman he needs in his life. Ladies and gentlemen, now I need you to pay attention, because this one right here, this is where a lot of women miss it completely. If you want a man to crave your presence like a drug, you have to create a sense of mystery. Now, I know what you're thinking, Steve. Are you telling me to play games? No, I'm telling you to understand the power of being intriguing, magnetic, and not completely predictable. Men are hunters by nature. That's just how God made them. They want to chase. They want to explore, and they want to figure out the woman who's walking in front of them. If they feel like they already know everything about you, that curiosity dies. And when curiosity dies, so does desire. You've got to keep that fire alive. Mystery doesn't mean lying. Mystery doesn't mean tricking him. Mystery doesn't mean tricking him. Mystery is about not giving away everything at once. It's about protecting pieces. Oh, if yourself keeping some things private and letting him work to understand you. Men are simple in some ways, but they're complex when it comes to desire. You want him hooked? You want him thinking about you when you're not around? Then you can't be an open book that he reads in one sitting. You got to be a novel he has to return to chapter by chapter by chapter by chapter. And ladies, I promise you, when a man realizes he's not getting everything he wants instantly, he starts to value what he does have. He starts to crave more. That craving, that's the drug. That's the pull. That's the magnetism that keeps him coming back. Here's what too many women don't understand about mystery. They think being mysterious means being distant. or cold. No, no, no. That's not mystery. That's being unapproachable. Mystery is being warm, engaging, vibrant, fun, and alive, but leaving enough space for him to want more. Think about it like seasoning. You don't dump a whole bottle of spice into a dish all at once. You sprinkle it carefully, just enough to make him taste it and say, ooh, I need more of that. The same thing applies to your presence, your personality, your energy. Give glimpses of your world, your thoughts, your passions, your humor, your intelligence, but not everything all at once. Let him wonder. Let him imagine. Let him fill in the blanks. When you do that, you become irresistible. And I want to be real with you. Men love a little challenge, not games, not manipulation, not mind tricks, but a challenge. A woman who doesn't reveal everything right away is a woman who commands respect, a woman who isn't desperate, a woman who understands her value. And men, they respect value, they chase it set, they work for it. And when they work for it, when they invest their time, energy, and attention into getting to know you, that's when they start to crave you. You gotta let them work for your attention. Let them invest in your world and let them feel the joy of discovering new layers of your personality. That's what makes him addicted. Not because you're complicated, but because you're captivating. Let me tell you something else. Mystery is also about timing. When don't feel like you have to reveal all your plans, all your thoughts, all your feelings the moment he asks. Hold back just enough to let him lean in. Let him feel the pull, the curiosity, the urge to know more. When a man realizes there's more beneath the surface, he starts paying attention to the details. He notices the little things you do, the little quirks, the laughs, the way your eyes light up when you talk about something you love. He starts to treasure those moments because he can feel there's more he hasn't uncovered yet. And let me tell you, women, that feeling of discovery, that's addictive. That's the feeling that keeps him coming back, keeps him texting you, keeps him thinking about you when he should be focusing on his own life. Now, here's another piece of wisdom you need to hear. Mystery doesn't mean you withhold affection or kindness. It doesn't mean you become cold or distant. It means you create a rhythm, a dance, a push and pull that draws him in without suffocating him. Be present when you're present. Be engaging when you're engaging. But don't make yourself too available. Let him chase a little. Let him earn your time, your energy, your attention. That's what keeps the spark alive. Men crave what they have to work for. They don't value what's handed to them on a silver platter. You want him addicted? You make him invest. You make him wonder. You make him chase. And as he chases, he starts to feel like he can't get enough of you. That feeling, that's pure power. Ladies, let me be clear. Creating mystery isn't about pretending to be someone you are not. It's about embracing your complexity, your depth, your uniqueness, and letting him discover it slowly. Let him find your passions, your dreams, your humor, your fire. Let him see the layers of your soul piece by piece so that he's constantly learning, constantly exploring, constantly craving the next chapter of who you are. That right there is the kind of presence that men don't just like. They need, they don't just want. They can't imagine life without it. You become unforgettable, magnetic, and absolutely addictive, not because you tricked him, but because you chose to honor yourself, your value, and your energy. So remember this, mystery is your friend. Mystery is the secret sauce. Mystery is the magnet that draws him in and keeps him coming back. Be real, be vibrant, be engaging, but always leave him wanting more. Give him glimpses, give him moments, give him energy, but don't give it all away at once. When you do that, ladies, I promise you, you're no longer just someone in his life. You become someone he craves, someone he can't stop constantly, someone he can't stop chasing. That's power. That's energy. That's how you become irresistible. That's how you make him addicted to your presence like a drug. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's get into something real, something that a lot of women don't quite get right. If you want a man to crave your presence like a drug, you gotta make him feel needed, but not insecure. Now hold on a second. Don't let that confuse you. I'm not talking about making a man feel like he owns you or that you're dependent on him for your happiness. No, no, no. That's the fastest way to make a man lose respect, lose interest, and check out completely. What I'm talking about is balance. The sweet spot between being a woman who adds value to his life and a woman who stands on her own 2 feet, confident, independent, and unstoppable. Because when you can master that balance, ladies, you become irresistible. You become unforgettable. And men, they start craving you like they can't breathe without you. Here's the thing. Men want to feel useful. They want to feel like they matter. It's wired into them. They want to be the protector, the provider, the man who makes a difference. If you can make him feel that way, if you can let him see that he contributes to your happiness, your peace, your joy, he will start to crave being around you. But, and this is important, you can't make him feel needed by leaning on him constantly, by complaining, by being clingy, by expecting him to solve every little thing in your life. That's not need, that's neediness. And men run from that faster than a cat from water. What you want is to let him feel needed while also showing him that your life is complete and thriving without him. Let him know that he's a blessing, not a necessity. And once he gets that, once he understands that you're strong, capable, and independent, but still value his presence, he will start chasing you, appreciating you, and craving your energy. Let me give you a little secret that too many women overlook. Confidence is the sexiest thing you can wear. A man can feel it when you're confident, when you know your worth, when you're not begging for his attention or validation, when he sees a woman who is fully herself, who doesn't need him to complete her, but chooses to include him in her world. That's irresistible. That's magnetic. That's addictive, because he starts to feel like he's part of something bigger, something extraordinary, something he doesn't want to lose. And ladies, let me tell you, that kind of respect, that kind of admiration, that kind of craving doesn't come from manipulation. It comes from authenticity, from being unapologetically you. Now, let's talk about the subtle ways you make a man feel needed without making him insecure. It's in the little things, the gestures, the acknowledgement, the energy you give him. Celebrate his victories, even the small ones. Let him know you notice when he's working hard, when he's achieving, when he's stepping up. Show appreciation for the things he does for you, not because you're trying to manipulate him, but because recognition feels good. Men don't often get told they're appreciated. So when you give that to him authentically, it makes him feel like he matters. It makes him feel like he belongs. And when he feels like he belongs, when he feels like he belongs, when he feels like he makes a difference in your life, he starts craving your presence, because being around you makes him feel alive, important, and respected. But ladies, here's the key. While you're making him feel needed, you have to protect your own heart. Never compromise your value to make him feel powerful. Never diminish yourself to make him feel strong. A man should never feel like he has to prop you up because you're weak. That's not attractive. That's a red flag. What is attractive is a woman who can thrive on her own, but Who has dreams, ambitions, and passions and still chooses to let him into that life? You're giving him a seat at your table, not handing him the whole restaurant. You're letting him contribute to your joy without making him responsible for your happiness. And when he realizes that, he starts craving that energy, that balance, that vibe that only you provide. He'll want to be around you constantly because it makes him feel capable, appreciated, and loved, all without ever feeling pressured or overwhelmed. And let's be real, ladies. Men can tell when you're desperate. They can sense when you're giving too much of yourself too fast or when you're leaning too hard on their attention. That's the opposite of making him feel needed. It makes him feel trapped, suffocated, and eventually uninterested. But when you hold your own, when you maintain your independence, when you let him earn a place in your world, that's when the craving starts. That's when he thinks about you when he shouldn't. Texts you when he swore he was too busy and wonders how he got so lucky to have you in his life. That, ladies, is the magic of making a man feel needed but not insecure. Now, I want you to understand one more thing. Being needed doesn't mean being predictable. A man should never take your presence for granted. He should always feel like your attention, your energy,